Well, from the Ardennes Forest to the Valley of the Rhine here in southwest Germany, welcome along to the Hockenheimring for round 2 of the IMB World Series League GT3 Season 4 for the US contingent. And this fantastic 4.574 kilometre circuit will be the scene of 2 races this evening. Well, my name's Alex Goldschmidt. I'm once again rejoined by my good friend north of the border in Bonnie, Scotland. Hello, Mr. David Christie.
Hello. Hello. How are we doing, Alex?
Well, two exciting races last time out at Spa-Francorchamps, where we saw a really good depth of racing, didn't we, David?
Yeah, we really did. It was fantastic to see. The thing is that we're spoiled for choice across the board with the WSL crowd. They just perform exceptionally well. The EU lot, I think, will give them their due. It was a bit of a difficult race, shall we say? I think
Hmm.
that's putting it very, very politely. But here's hoping they've learned their lessons, and they'll be able to perform a little bit more calmly. We'll wait and see.
Indeed. Well, we're going to have a quick look at the championship standings in Pro-Am, and Am. Well, Paul Busby in the Porsche ran away with it all at the opening round at Spa in the Pro class with a maximum score of 130 points. Harry Willis just 8 points behind on 122, with Ryan Kaprowski completing the top 3. Going to Pro-Am, Chase Wilson, another double winner this time around, with the Lamborghini showing its definite stature at Spa-Francorchamps. But it was the likes of Errol Yuroksoy and John Trainer that ran at the top 3 positions, with Steven Martinez running at the top 4 places. They're covered by 17 points. But it's the 2 ERS by Skyline Design drivers of Braden Melling and Matthew Plaisance that are only a point adrift of each other, with Braden taking the win in the feature race, Matthew the win in the sprint race. Michael Fowler and Ethan Swan are not too far adrift, but could make up ground tonight. And also with that, the team's standings. Well, ERS by Skyline Designs currently have 255 points to their credit. Looks like Celeritas Sim Racing in second position on 255 points. It looks like the Digital Chicane number 1 crew is on 179, with Digital Chicane crew on 167. But David, all in all, two winners in both the Pro and the Pro-Am class, and it nearly was the fact that Matthew Plaisance last time at Spa-Francorchamps, he dropped the ball in the Porsche in the second race, and it just allowed Braden Melling to get past, and it was 1 win apiece. So all's fair in love and racing here at the Hockenheimring.
Very well put, Alex. Very well put indeed. That's exactly what it is, and I think the thing is as well, especially, and that's why I love doing this on EU First, Alex, is because we get a little sneak peek at what to expect. It's all going to kick off tonight. Where it was, it was a very interesting affair last time out at Spa. Certainly on this one here, yeah, this is just going to be absolutely unpredictable. There's so few places to overtake here at Hockenheimring. It just makes it very, very difficult for everyone involved, and we all know that these drivers are not exactly known for their patience, Alex.
No, I think the biggest overtaking opportunities are going to be more the case of going down the Parabolica into the Spitzkehrer, which is effectively turn 4, and that's the very, very tight hairpin. If you're hard on the brakes, send it up the inside, you're going to be absolutely fine. And then also coming out of the final double right-hander through Südkurve, and then through into the Nordkurve, which is that incredibly fast right-hand kink, which not everybody ends up taking on the traditional racing line. So that's going to be the 2 main spots of overtaking. But of course, the infamous Sachs curve, that's going to be one where differing racing lines are going to be used. I mean, effectively, you can take the traditional inside line, set yourself up for the next couple of corners. But if you take the outside line, you're going to take a bit more of a gamble. As you can see on the weather side of things, 19 degrees Celsius, 34% humidity, partially cloudy, and a 3-kilometer wind. But David, as as I was saying, the fact of those 2 main overtaking opportunities is where we're going to really see the biggest amount of action, because we could see So we're hopefully going to see that those overtaking opportunities are going to be presented. But Paul Busby takes pole position again for the second race evening in a row. Dan Tenorio will line up on the front row. Cardiel and Sean Ryan, row 2. Harry Willis and Wills and Dean Timms, row 3. James Howard and Ryan Koprowski, row 4, with Carl Boss and Dave Meneno running at the top 10 in the pro class. So we've got quite a substantial grid. Not the numbers that we had in the EU, where there were 54 cars. I think that that our broadcast team were dealing with earlier on today. So there is the top 10 rounded out by Dave Meneno. Let's see if we can hopefully scan through the rest of these grids. So Jeremy Littleton from Canada takes pole in the Pro-Am class ahead of Chris Long. Chase Wilson, the points leader, joined by Australia's Richie Tremaco, with Justin Delano, Gary Brown, Jack Werrell, Yuruk Adam Moy, James Nunn, Justin Ristow and Ashraf El Haddad rounding out the top 12 in the Pro-Am class. So Brent Bravada, Steve Martinez, going to be quite a few. Braden Melling takes pole position on BMW's home track ahead of Paul Joseph, Daniel Florea, Matthew Plaisance, Michael Fowler, Jake Scher, Rick Swan, Andrew Hewitt, Jason Arensberg, Charles Bushell, John Casey and Andrew Rasmussen, as it looks like we're going to get underway with the first of our 3 classes. The red lights are on the starting gantry for race 1, and Paul Busby already gets a great jump on the rest of the opposition, as someone's gone off track very, very early doors. That's Dan Tenorio that was alongside, but Busby gets the great start. Kai DL in second position. Harry Wills manages to jump up 2 positions to P3 as they head down into the Einfahrt Parabolica, which is basically a right-hander, then it's a left, then it's this fast sweeping Parabolica where they're going to be up the gears, they're going to be into 6th gear, probably by the braking zone, probably close to 260 at 265 kilometers per hour. But Kai DL in that Lamborghini has got an absolute run on Paul Busby as they head into the Spitzkehrer. The Lamborghini looks up the inside early doors, but Busby stays ahead for the moment. Looks like there's a little bit of a train behind it. It's the Harry Wills train thereof as they go into the first part of the infield here at the Hockenheimring. So we'll see how they get on. Littleton is leading, as is Melling in the AM class. So the drivers moving forward. So as they now head into the main infield section, and through the Sachs curve goes Paul Busby. Kai DL trying to give chase, but the gap is already 7.5 tenths of a second. I'm hoping, David, you're back with us. Okay, not yet, but we're going to see if we can catch up with the... well, it looks like there's a very, very big battle going on between Chris Long and Ricky Tremaco in Pro-Am. The gap between them is about 1.5 tenths of a second. Braden Melling has... oh, well, there's been a drama because Chris Long has just ended up being out of this race. There's Braden Melling in the ERS by Skylines number 8 BMW M4 GT3. So I'm not too sure what... well, going to see... well, Chris Long, based out of Carolina, is leading the Pro-Am class. So I'm not too sure. Might have just had a little bit of a timing glitch there. But Ricky Tremaco coming under fire from the current Pro-Am points leader, Chase Wilson. Gary Brown rounding out the top 3. Then it's Jack Werrell and Justin Delano completing the top 6 as they fire their way down in towards the in towards the Spitzkehrer. These are the traditional corner names, as opposed to just calling it a good old hairpin. I like it when you have these kind of things with regards to the track corner names, a bit like Brands Hatch. We have Paddock Hill Bend, then you have Graham Hill Bend, but it's definitely kicking off in the pro class because James Howard has just lost the back end and it's gone hard into the barriers. And that car is probably going to be out of the race. Yep, he's returned to garage immediately on the spot. And that number 99 car is out, I'm afraid. So a real shame for James Howard. He just lost the back end coming out. Now that would have been heading onto the approach into the Mobile 1 corner. Carl Bos for Celeritas Sim Racing is closing in on 4th place driver Dean Timms. That's in the number 46 BMW, so the BMWs will be very, very strong around this circuit. Of course, the DTM hosted its season finale, and the car that ended up winning the championship was driven by one South African by the name of Sheldon van der Linde, the first ever South African to win a DTM championship. DTM now using GT3 machinery these days. Carboz holding a good account of himself, keeping Ryan Timms on edge. Ryan Kaprowski has just gone wide, and that's allowed a couple of drivers to get through. Dave Meneno looks to be one of them. So Kaprowski keeps a hold of 7th position, but that could be under threat because Tenorio is closing in on the Mercedes going into the next right-hander, which is the Spitzkehrer, and looks to have dived up the inside, gets through, and Kaprowski drops to 8th position. So, David, already in this pro class.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back.
Sorry.
It's no problem.
If only you knew what I'd been up to.
I know what you've been up.
Anyway, just very quickly, I have to completely apologise to our audience. Sorry we haven't had as many camera changes as possible. I've been having a nervous breakdown behind the scenes, getting all that sorted. So now we can go and catch up with everything that has happened so far in the race.
Yeah, we're now heading to Justin Ristow from the Giza Racing Team USA. He's got, that is Brent Bravada and Steve Martinez up ahead. Martinez is really under the kibosh at the moment in the Ferrari, as they're going to go into effectively this sweeping right-hander. It's a great part of the track, but like we nearly saw with Brent Bravada there, he needed to be careful on the approach through Mobile 1 and into the infamous Sachs curve. And into this combination here, it's a left-right chicane where it's a bit of adverse camber. And in the wet, the double right-hander coming into the Sud cover can be a bit of a pain in the backside. I think a few Formula 1 drivers found that out a few years ago.
They certainly did. And what we found earlier on tonight, Alex, is that the curbs are lava on this circuit. You cannot afford to do anything, even thinking about touching them on the outside. It's just going to absolutely break your car here, as Dan Tenorio again off, and looks like this is going to be a retirement for him.
Oh, we're going to go to a replay. So we had dramas on the first. Now this is going through one of the fastest parts of the circuit. Turns right, back end steps out. That car is on the brakes, bang, straight into the wall. And that Porsche, unfortunately, has ended up in pit road. So Dan Tenorio, after what was a great qualifying for the opening 25-minute sprint race, we've got a reverse grid top 10 for all 3 classes. But Justin Ristow trying to do his level best to keep with Brent Bravada and Stephen Martinez. I mean, those two battling away as we go on board with Justin Ristow and the number 30 Mercedes-AMG GT3 heading into... and you're just now going to get an understanding, folks, of this this curbing. And you can see that Martinez makes a bit of a mistake. Bravada goes wide. Now he's trying to sweep to the inside. That's a great switchback from Bravada there. Has he pulled it off? He's going to get the run into the Mobile 1 curve. And the BMW is going to get through on the Ferrari. Neatly done by Brent Bravada, but he gets a tank slapper, and I spoke too soon. Commentators curse as they come through Mobile 1. Oh my goodness me. It was greatly timed up by Brent Bravada there, but he just lost the back end completely going through into Mobile 1, didn't he?
Didn't he just? It's sort of around and around and around the corner. Let's see what actually happened if we go on board. The problem is that it's so easy to do. And again... I haven't had experience in iRacing, Alex. I cannot tell you how simple that is a mistake to do. It gives you so little feedback in terms of the road grip, in terms of where the limit of adhesion is. And then when something like that actually does happen, it all goes wrong very, very quickly. You're left asking yourself, what happened?
Yeah, I'm just... well, Paul Busby's already romped away into the distance in the overall race lead. We now turn our attention to, now this is the battle in the AM class. So Braden Melling has a considerable advantage, 4.7 seconds over Jake Scheer. We're with Andrew Rasmussen in the Audi. Hockenheim not based too far from Ingolstadt, Stuttgart, and also, of course, Munich, or München as it's more commonly known in Germany. But the Audi keeping pace with the Porsche. The grunt of the 5.2 V8 against the flat 6 turbo boxer engine of that Porsche. It might have the legs on the Porsche, but the Porsche is going to be really handy. I mean, this is very more a more technical circuit than Spa-Francorchamps, which is a bit more speed orientated in comparison to what we had last week.
It is, isn't it? It's a strange one. For me, I consider this a much more traditional circuit in terms of it's very, very flat, very little elevation change on this. It's it's high-speed straights and low-speed corners. It's a nice sort of mix that really allows a very, very technical approach to the circuit. However, what I find is that the overtaking opportunities tend to come from other people's mistakes rather than straight line speed or raw ability here. It's I mean, don't get me wrong, we do see it, but it's just so few and far between, isn't it?
It is indeed. We're concentrating on the battle at the moment. This is Eric Kulaga battling away with Justin Ristow, and that Lamborghini's right on the back bumper of that Mercedes AMG. They've got Errol Yuruksoy, who's actually out of customary position. Yuruksoy in terms of the in the class standings. Now, this is the battle for effectively Pro-Am. Errol Yuruksoy came in with a total of 120 points post Spa-Francorchamps, so he's got to make some headway. Has Errol, as he gets very, very close through the Spitzkehre on the back bumper of
that's a slow down penalty.
Oh, dearie me.
That's what
that
it looked
is.
like from, was that Achraf El Haddad or was that Jeff Carollo that slowed right down?
Well,
No,
Errol Yuruksoy has dropped down the order. He was in, what was that? That would have been 11th position. As Eric Kalaga going side by side. That's is that Justin Ristow up his inside? That's a bit of a brave place to do that through the Mobil 1 corner. They've got Ashraf El Haddad not too far behind, but that Lamborghini seems to power away from the pair of Mercedes. V10 having a bit more, lower down grunt than the 6.2 litre naturally aspirated V8 as we go to the battle for what will be second position in the Pro-Am in the Am class. My apologies. Matthew Plaisance second in the championship by 1 point. I mean, Braden Melling's already checked out. We're not even halfway through the race. 7.2 seconds is his advantage. Go a little bit further down. There's Paul Cliss from the Apex Racing Academy from the UK. Trying to close in. Jack Worrell's just had a bit of a moment, and I think he's ended up in pit lane. But that is Charles Michel.
Errol Erexoy, Alex, from the looks of it.
Oh,
as well.
dearie me. Oh, so could there have been dramas for both drivers? That's the biggest thing we're going to see here. Now, this is a replay. Errol Yuruksoy. This is going to be going into T1, and there's a touch between the pair, and they're both going to hit. They're both going to hit the barriers. And that's Uruksoy's race done and dusted, I think, with the amount of damage that car sustained.
And that was Jack Worrell as well that he hit, so that's why. And Kalaga and Achraf Al Haddad have come together as well. My goodness me.
Oh, it was all calm at Spa-Francorchamps, and now here at Hockenheim, it's definitely decided to be handbags at dawn. But have a look here. Now, this is what happened. This will be the rundown into the Spitzkehre. So Ashraf El Haddad from the Twisted Racing team up the inside of Eric Kalaga. There's a slightest touch, and the car behind managed to get through. That was very, very close indeed. That might have been James Hebb, I believe, that would have gotten through. Possibly.
I feel cheated on that, Alex. It said that El Haddad crashed, and that definitely wasn't a crash there, was it?
Well, it was the fact that he turned around Kalaga. Think.
I know that El Haddad was the car behind it. So
El Haddad.
Was
so that might have been with Justin Ristow then. I think that might have been the case if Ristow had actually sent it up the inside. We now go to the Pro class. Battle between Carl Boz and Dean Timms for 4th position in the Pro class. And just like Braden Melling, Paul Busby again looking for a 3rd successive victory in as many. In 2 weeks, Charles Michel from Olympus Esports with that very, very colourful livery, especially on going from the A pillars on the windscreen on that number 21 Olympus Esports Mercedes AMG. He's trying to close on in on the car in front, but now we go back to this is the AM class battle for P6. So this is Andrew Hewitt versus Michael Fowler, Porsche versus Mercedes. It's getting a bit close there. Now Hewitt nearly let the door be open there for Fowler in the car behind, who's closing in really, really quickly. They both got the headlights ablaze. Richie Tremaco's now 3.7 seconds behind our Pro-Am leader, who just so happens to be the number 97 of Chris Long, but Chase Wilson will want to make sure that he gets a second place finish. We can have a look at a replay now. This is James Hebb in the number 77 Rhino Motorsports Lamborghini. Now this is coming through the S-Bend chicane. Oh, that's just loses the back end completely and ends up on that drag strip on the outside of the first corner, first part of the Sudkurve.
That's a very unfortunate place to happen, but again, it goes to what I was saying earlier about how easy that is to make happen. There's a reason I've focused on Chase Wilson. Can we just appreciate that glorious livery, that pink and white livery on that car there? That looks absolutely amazing.
Oh, he's going to send it
inside.
Through the Spitzkehrer, but he's going to run a little bit wide. Chimako's going to get through. Is that Delano alongside him as well? That could very well.
Yeah, it is. Justin Delano.
Justin Delano's looking racy tonight. Wilson again goes wide, but he's going to try and send it up the inside of Chimako if he's not very careful. Delano's going to pin it to the outside. The Porsche has to hold back behind the Lamborghini as they go through the S-bend. That was very, very close racing. Good spatial awareness from all three drivers.
Yeah, really, really nice. Another battle going on up in the pros just now. Harry Wills, Sean Ryan and Dean Timms all duking out. Kyle Boss is also up there with Dave Menino just behind him. So what essentially could be a 4-car battle for third place just now. So this is just awesome stuff right now in pro.
Well, Harry Wills has got to watch that, watch turn 1 at the Nordkurve. If he goes too wide and he gets to slow down, that's going to cost him big time. Justin Delano's looking up the inside of Chase Wilson. That's going to be going through the same part of the circuit. Bit of a run wide there from Wilson. He manages to keep the Lamborghini filled with momentum and also forward motion to get through as they go through the Einfahrt Parabolica. So a very technical part of the circuit before they go into the Parabolica. So the Einfahrt is basically the entrance to the Parabolica. I don't know why they decided to call it that, but they thought we'll just make it a little bit easier for people to follow. That's if you're German, of course. But Wilson's now closing on Chimako. Could he look for a move up the inside into the Spitzkehrer? He won't do on this particular occasion, but keep your eyes on the car in 5th position there. And that is Adam Moy, who's now closed on in. I also see in the background, that's James Nunn in the number 75. So the battle for 2nd position in the class is really heating up. Michael Fowler now in the 54. Oh, goes a bit of grass tracking. And yeah, that was a bit of a... Again, it's a circuit that bites really, really hard. We now go back into what's going to be the battle for 8th, 9th and 10th position in the AM class. So we've got John Casey in the middle of the sandwich, so to speak, in the Ferrari. He's closing in on the car in front, which is going to be very, very close. Oh, nearly has a look up the... Nearly thought of a move up the inside, but has to back out of it. He's got... that's the number 54 that we just saw spinning a second ago. That was Michael Fowler, who's looking towards the inside. That's a bit brave through the Parabolica, and the Mercedes has the... torque in comparison with the Ferrari. That's something you don't see that often with regards to those two cars. The Mercedes has the grunt to get past through, of all places, the Parabolica. Now we've got the battle for 2nd place in the Pro class, and they're coming up to lap these AM cars in front. Harry Wills loses 2nd position to Sean Ryan in the number 29 car as they're going to try and just pull each other along, but I'm sure that Wills will want to get that 2nd place back, and he could do so very, very shortly.
Well, knowing Wills, yeah, I think that's exactly what he's going to be trying to do here. He pushes that car. There we go. So close to the car of Sean Ryan just in front. The thing is I was speaking to Harry Wills before our EU broadcast tonight, and I was like, are you going to not bin it tonight, please, my friends? Because, and the thing is that it's obviously said in jest, but it's actually said in like, because we know Harry, he's one of the admins here at World Series Leagues, and he's a really, really nice guy, would do anything for anyone, and yet you're watching him and it's like, come on, you're charging through the field, and then you push too hard. It's like you got to just calm it down a little bit. Although he's saying he's just looking for any result tonight. He knows that the Merc was performing really, really badly, so he just wants to get a good solid finish here tonight. That's what he's going to be looking for. But yeah, I mean, we've got what final lap that we're going to be starting very, very shortly. It's safe to say that this has already been a much, much better race, much less chaotic race than EU is. Up the inside and side by side. Oh, this is not going to end well, is it?
Well, that's one of the AM class drivers. So the biggest thing is for the pros, they're going to have to negotiate all this back marker traffic. They've got a train of 3 in front of them. So the Olympus Esports car that just got out of the way, good spatial awareness there just to see what was going on. And what's happened to Brent? Oh, Brent Bravada's had it. Oh, well, this is James Hebb again.
Yeah, several cars have had issues, so we're going to have to try and catch up on them. Same
right.
place?
Same place. Oh, my goodness me. Oh, was that a rip? That looks... Yeah, he went even further onto the drag than he did the time before. We're now going to see Jake Shear in the number 62 car. Now, this is heading into... This is heading into the infield. Just loses the back end. Oh, dear. And luckily enough, he held the brakes. Well held there, Jake. So, quite a few things. Brent Bavard. Oh no, this is he's gone wide out of the sud curve. This is going to be a bit painful, I think. Yeah, onto the gravel, and hardest hit of the night. Hardest hit of the night.
Is...
Poor old Brent Bravada. He had no luck in the first race at Spa. Now we go to Andrew Hewitt from the HRL squad in the number 7 into Nordkurve, goes over the curbing. Oh, he was a lucky boy, was Andrew Hewitt. He managed to keep that thing out of the barriers and lighted up the rear tyres, trying to get it spun around. We got 5 minutes to go, and Paul Busby, David Christie, has now checked out in the lead of the pro class by 10.4 seconds. Harry Wills now back ahead of Sean Ryan, and they've still got all this back marker traffic to get through. This is going to decide what's going to happen in the battle for second position, because look at who's behind. You've got Kyle Boz now up to 4th place. Dean Timms has dropped to 5th. Dave Meneno's, he qualified at the back end of the field. Now we're going to see what happened here. Harry Wills, do not tell me you're going to make this 3 wide going into the Nordkurve. Well, he manages to get through.
Oh, that's so clever, Alex. I don't know if you saw that there, but he actually boxed Sean Ryan in behind 2 of the cars that they were trying to lap, and that was cheeky, naughty, but very, very impressive at the same time.
You see the fact that Dean Timms was having a tank slapper coming through the sud curve as well, and that's why he dropped behind Kyle Boz as a result of that. Justin Ristow now going to battle with Ashraf El Haddad, and Ristow holds fire at the moment as they go into Mobile 1 and then into the Sachs curve. Ristow's all over the back bumper of El Haddad at the moment, so very close between the pair. Actually, this is the other part of the circuit. It's just before the Mobile 1, so you've got that first right-hander, then this short blast down to the Mobile 1 corner. But there is your overall race leader, Paul Busby. He's definitely not hanging around. I mean, that Porsche has been absolutely mustard in his hands for Effect Esports, the number 98 Porsche, hasn't it, David? I mean, he's not had to look back at all.
Well, I think we've seen him twice since the race started. That shows you exactly what has been going on there. We saw him looking very, very fast. No way has he just done that.
Sean Ryan trying to hang it around the outside of Harry Wills. That was going through the Spitz curve. They're going to go into the next right-hander. Sean Ryan still keeping it pinned to the outside in the Ferrari. He's going to keep it pinned. He's going to get the inside for the next left-hander. And Harry Wills decides, no, you don't, sunshine. You've got to do better than that to get past me. And they nearly have a little bit of a touch going into the next right. Brilliant battling between these two, but look how close Kyle Boz is. Boz has got the ringside seat as they go into Mobile 1. And a little bit tighter on the apex goes Sean Ryan on that particular occasion into the Sachs curve. And Ryan gets a little bit later on the brakes. He does nearly do a full send, but Harry Wills doing a great job of holding him off, and they've still got back market traffic up ahead to contend with.
Oh man, this is awesome stuff. Obviously, we'll keep as much of the action throughout the rest of the field covered as well. But how can you take your eyes off of this right now? We've got an amazing battle going on Pro-Am as well. Richie Trickmako, Justin Delano and Adam Moy, as well as James Nunn, all duking it out as well. So I don't know what they've put in the water over in America right now, but yeah, I'm happy with some of this. This is just awesome battling that we've got going on, and just 2 minutes left to go.
Yep, so we're concentrating on the battle for second, which is led by Chase Wilson. This is for the Pro-Am class. Richie Tremaco, and then we've also got Justin Delano and Adam Moy. And there is Adam Moy looking up the inside of Justin Delano, and that was definitely keep it out of harm's way. That was that was way too close for call. That was going into the Einfahrt Parabolica. Now they've got the real run down here through the Parabolica itself. I've been to Hockenheim a few times. Kyle Boss has just had dramas, and that is on the exit of the Spitzkirche. So we're going to see now. This is when Sean Ryan's looking up the inside. So is Kyle Boz, and what happens? He just bumps the curbs, just unsettles the back right, and it turns the car around. Kyle Boz has just had a biggest mare, and it's dropped him down to 8th position. The last of the Pro Class drivers that are running, with Tenorio and Howard both out, but Harry Wills, nevertheless, up until this point, has done a great defensive job ahead of Sean Ryan, as Paul Busby, I think, might be entering the final lap of this race.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's happened here. 30 seconds left to go. He's already 1/5 of the way around the track here at Hockenheimring. Absolutely brilliant performance here from Paul Busby in that Effect Esports machine up at the front of the field. It's been a masterclass. I think that's not going too far to say that.
No, not at all. I mean, considering the way that he pulled away from the rest of the opposition, but then we go to back to the battle. This is for P8 in the Pro-Am class, as Eric Kalaga's the meet in the Lamborghini meet in a Mercedes sandwich, and again that front hood is well, the front hood is actually intact on the number 66 as they go down that line astern. This is heading into the Nordkurve. Careful, guys, just take it easy, as Dean Timms is up into 4th position. But look, they're still squabbling. Ryan's about to send it up the inside of Wills. This is through the right-hander, and again, Harry Wills goes wide. He's going to try and angle that Mercedes into the right-hander the next corner. But Sean Ryan, can he keep it pinned around the outside? Yes, he does, and he gets through to take second at a whisker. And this is on the run to Mobile 1. But here is your overall race leader, Paul Busby, coming through, and he's going to pick up a 3rd successive victory. 2 wins at Spa. He opens the account here at Hockenheimring by a comfortable 13.7 seconds in the overall side of things, and also in the Pro Class. But let's see if we can head back to that battle. It is going to be Sean Ryan that is going to pip Harry Wills to 2nd position after that masterful outside overtake opportunity, and Harry Wills takes a well-deserved P3. Dave Meneno takes 4th place. But it is going to be Chris Long that this time will take the top honours in the Pro-Am class. And then we've also got Chase Wilson and Richie Tremaco. They're rounding out the top 3 in the Pro-Am class, with Justin Delano and Adam Moy, with James Nunn rounding out the top 6 position. Steve Martinez will come through very, very shortly, but then it's all the gaggle behind. It's the likes of Kulaga, El Haddad, Ristow and Carollo. Well, you can just see that there's an absolute freight train coming across the start-finish line, but it's going to be 2 wins out of 3 for Braden Melling from Canada. ERS by Skylines Designs is going to take the victory here in the opening race here at the Hockenheimring. He took the feature at Spa-Francorchamps. He now takes the sprint race here at the Hockenheimring, and Matthew Plaisance is going to take 3rd position, as Andrew Rasmussen has taken 2nd position in the AM category, and we wait for Matthew Plaisance to cross the line, which will be very, very shortly indeed. The checkered still waving, waiting for the last few drivers. And that is it for race number 1. Well, let's see if we can have a look at the results of our respective Pro-Am and Am classes. So, Paul Busby, 3 wins on the bounce, having started his race to domination, let's say, in the early part of this season by 13.5 seconds ahead of Sean Ryan. Harry Wills taking third ahead of Dave Meneno, who qualified at the back end of the Pro class, let's not forget, so he had a better race than he did have a qualifying. Ryan Kaprowski takes fifth ahead of Car DL, who was in the mix for possibly a top 3. Kyle Boz, the biggest drama for him, was running in a genuine P5, was possibly, genuine P4, dropped to 7th at the end ahead of Dean Timms, with Dan Tenorio and James Howard unfortunately out earlier on in the race. That's your pro results. So let's see if we can have a look at the Pro-Am class. Well, it's now a new winner, Chris Long in the number 97, beating current and still points leader in the Pro-Am class, Chase Wilson, by nearly 5.9 seconds. Richie Tremaco from Australia for Middle Split Racing completes the top 3 ahead of Justin Delano, Adam Moy, James Nunn, and then we had Steve Martinez running at the top 7. Great battling between the likes of Eric Kalaga, Ashraf El Haddad, Justin Ristow and Jeff Carollo that rounded out the top 11, and that was the battling from 8th to 11th position. Michael Kalaga rounded out in the top 12 ahead of Richard Rosado and James Hebb, completing the 14 strong that finished the race. Well, Gary Brown and Eloy Yuroksoy, possibly after significant damage, would finish in 15th and 16th. Brent Bravado retired on the spot after a massive incident coming out of the Sud cover and hitting the barriers hard. Jack Werrell, with 10 laps still to go, would retire after the touch with Errol Yuroksoy through the first corner, and Jeremy Littleton, who took pole in the class, unfortunately retired with 15 laps to go. Then in the AM class, Braden Melling from Canada takes his 2nd win of the season ahead of Andrew Rasmussen, with Melling's teammate Matthew Plaisance taking a 3rd place ahead of Rich Swan, with Jake Shear, Michael Fowler, Jason Arensberg, and we hope that your nephew is still watching whenever when you're out on track, Jason. John Casey, Andrew Hewitt, Charles Bushell, Paul Joseph and Daniel Florea. Florea having a bit of a mare on this particular occasion, finishing with 7 laps, DNFing with 7 laps to go. So, looks like we have got a couple of drivers waiting to have a chat to. So let's bring the first one in. Let's bring in one of the people that did one of the most audacious overtaking opportunities. Let's bring in Sean Ryan, who finished P2 in. Sean, a very good evening. How are you doing, buddy?
Not bad. Yourself?
Man, you put a move on Harry Wills. I mean, like, you tried it once, and as they say, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again, and you pulled that outside move coming into the right-hander heading towards Mobil 1. You must have been pretty happy with that one.
Oh my, I'm still shaking. It was so much fun battling with Harry there, but yeah, no, I was determined on that time. I was like, I'm going to hold him tight as best I can, and the nose stuck with me that time, and I was able to pull it off, but hats off to Harry. That was so much fun.
I think the good thing is that there's a lot of mutual respect between you guys as well, because, you know, the first time it happened, I was like thinking, is Sean going to do it? Oh, he's not close enough. And then the second time, it's like, wallop straight in. You got the job done. But to get a welcome P2, despite the fact that Paul's been dominating the opening 3 races of the season, it must give you a good feeling going into race 2.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. It'll be fun with the reverse grid. And it's not easy to overtake around here. I mean, I had to pull out something special to get around Harry. So, you know, I'm just hoping that there's no chaos in front of me. I don't get collected at anything, and try and grab Paul's coattails and ride my way to the front for the second race.
Yeah, it's very different kettle of fish when you've got someone in a Porsche and yourself in a Ferrari, 2 very, very different opposites of the GT3 spectrum, but still a very ultra-competitive championship in its own right, isn't it?
Oh yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I picked the Ferrari because I've been racing the Mercedes all summer, and I wanted to change the scenery, but it's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun.
Brilliant. Well, Sean, thanks for talking to me, and wishing you all the very best of luck in race 2.
Thanks, mate.
So a big thank you to Sean Ryan, but let's bring in the man who has now won 2 out of the 3 AM races so far this season. Let's bring in Braden Melling from ERS. Braden, firstly, congratulations. Pretty comfortable victory there in the AM class. How are you feeling?
Pretty good about it, you know. I managed to get a really good start right off the bat, and I think that helped me a lot. And obviously some instances behind me helped keep that gap open. I do think the second race is going to be nice and tough, though, with Rasmussen starting right in front of me, because he was catching up probably around 2/10 a lap on me at the end there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that he was. But you still kept a fairly decent distance between the pair of you. I think it was the best part of nearly 5 seconds, I think, was your winning margin at the end of it. But still, to have 2 wins so far, the feature race at Spa-Francorchamps, obviously with Matthew having that massive moment through Le Con, but then to get that nice start and to pull away, and even though Rasmussen has been a bit of a threat, as you say, it's going to be a different kettle of fish in race 2 with a mandatory pit stop.
Yeah, so race 2, obviously a 50-minute race. There's going to be a lot of pit strategy going into it. I know watching the EU race, there were some people trying the undercut, so I'm not sure exactly how strong it's going to be in this race in the AM class, considering we don't really have to worry about back markers or getting past a slower class. We are the slowest class, so I honestly think, for us at least, the undercut might actually be a viable strategy, and you might see it a few times.
Brilliant. Well, Braden, well done on race 1. Good luck in race 2.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to go to another interviewee. Let's bring in the person who eventually managed to get past Richie Tremaco and take a second place finish. Chase Wilson joins me. Chase, first of all, myself and David were appreciating the livery that you're running on that Lamborghini. What was the inspiration behind it?
Oh, wow. The inspiration behind the livery. So grew up in the mountains in California, and the pink is very synonymous with Mammoth Mountain. And the W5 logo is just the Wilson 5. We got 5 people in the clan. We got a little sticker that we got, so I threw it all over the car.
Well, I mean, of course, after the first 2 wins last time out at Spa-Francorchamps, it was going to be a tougher order here at Hockenheim. But still to come home with the P2 in the opening race of the evening, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It was really physical out there. Trying to push your way through on really a one-line track is really difficult. So getting everything lined up while also managing the traffic that's behind you, looking to get it ahead as well, is very difficult. So going into the second race, starting a little further back with the reverse grid is going to be tough, but it should be really fun as long as we're able to keep it clean out there.
Definitely. I mean, the fact of the Lamborghini, you had the run on some of the other competitors coming towards the end of the race. I mean, Richie in the Mercedes was definitely giving you hell. We'll be completely honest about that. I mean, he,
In his defense, I was bullying him a little bit too. I misjudged the hairpin once and almost blew right through him, and we were getting beaten, banged around by a couple of the cars behind us. So hopefully we kept it clean, but we were racing really well, Richie and I.
That's great to see. Well, hopefully we'll see more of that in race 2. Chase, all the very best of luck for race 2.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, a big thank you to our interviewees there, Sean Ryan, Braden Melling, and last but by certainly no means least, part of the W5 clan, Chase Wilson. We're going to go to a break ahead of race number 2 here for continuing coverage of round 2 of the IMB World Series League GT3 Season 4 for the US. So we've got the sprint race out of the way now. It's time for the feature race for round 2 of the IMB World Series League GT3 Season 4 here at the fantastic Hockenheimring in southwest Germany. Alex Goldschmidt and David Christie back with you. David, some great racing that opening race, but now, once again, what we saw at Spa last week, we're going to have a different dynamic as a 50-minute pit stop. Top 10 are reversed on each of the 3 classes. It's going to be a good one.
I'm scared, Alex. Hold me tight for this one, because
virtual hug on that one.
Exactly. The thing is right? We really had a calm race compared to what I saw earlier on tonight in the EU race. Right, this was a calm affair. What we've got to worry about though is the fact that we've got pit stops. We've got drivers that are going to be trying to make a name for themselves in the first sort of 5 to 10 minutes of this race here. So we need to see how this is all going to pan out in front of us. So we'll wait, we'll see, but looks like we've got ready to go grid.
Indeed, let's have a look at the respective grids for the Pro, Pro-Am and Am classes. So Dean Timms this time will start from pole position ahead of Carl Boss with Kai DL and Ryan Koprowski on row 2. Dave Menino and Harry Wills will run at row 3 ahead of Sean Ryan and Paul Busby. Looks like Dan Tenorio is going to start at the back of the grid for the Pro class. Justin Ristow will start ahead of Ashraf El Haddad on the front row of the Pro-Am class. Row 2, it's Eric Kalaga and Stephen Martinez with James Nunn and Adam Moy on row 3. Justin Delano and Richard Tramaco ran out row number 4 with Chase Wilson and Chris Long, who were second and first respectively. They complete the top 10. Jeff Corallo and Michael Kalaga ran out row number 6. And it's James Hebb, Gary Brown, Errol Yuroksoy, Brent Bavada and Richard Rosado rounding out the 17-strong grid on the Pro-Am class. Finally, the Am class is going to be Charles Bichelle, Andrew Hewitt, John A. Casey, Jason Aaronsberg, Michael Fowler, Jake Shear, Rick Swan, Matthew Plaisance, Andrew Rasmussen, and your sprint race winner in Am from earlier on tonight, Braden Melling with Paul Joseph and Daniel Florea, who apparently seems to have had some troubles, I think, with his with some technical dramas, but we're going to get underway as the Porsche pace car now pulls along the Pro class. They're going to be let go at the respective 10-second intervals. So Pro class will be up first, then it'll be Pro-Am, and then the Am class will then be released around this 4.574 kilometer circuit, and we'll see whether the dramas that unfolded in race 1 could be the same here in race 2, but Dean Timms will lead the field. He's got Carl Boz alongside. They're going to come out of the Sud Curva. So the red lights are about to ignite on the starting gantry, and then we'll go from red to lights out. Red lights are on, full throttle, pin down to the floor, lights are out, and Timms gets a great start. DL looking up the inside. We're now going to go to the Pro-Am class with Ristal and El Haddad on the front row, and very shortly they will be released. And now the pedal will be put to the metal in this particular category, but it looks like there's going to be one driver that's going to have the run. It's going to be Justin Ristal that leads the Pro-Am field into the Nordkurve for the first time basking. And then we've got our Am class about to get underway with Charles Bushell from Olympus Esports leading the field. He'll have Andrew Hewitt alongside. It's Lamborghini and Porsche on the front row of this particular contingent, as now the green flag waves for the Am class, and Michelle instantly sweeps across the front of the bonnet of Hewitt as they go into the Nordkurve. Got the side-by-side altercations coming through the Nordkurve for the first time, but everyone's safely making it through thus far as we're into the first 60 seconds of the 50-minute sprint race. And Dean Timms for Twisted Racing leading the way ahead of Kai DL. Carl Boz rounding out and goes very, very wide. Carl Boz nearly could have potentially had a slowdown if he went too far off the track there, but he manages to make it through. Kaprowski, Wills, Meneno, Ryan, Busby, Tenorio. Busby we saw in the feature race back at Spa-Francorchamps, David, was able to claw his way through the field, but Ristal and El Haddad have scarpered away from Eric Kalaga in the Lamborghini.
It's been a brilliant start. It's been a very, very clean start for both the pros and pro-ams. You can see moves thought about early on, but you know, you have to be so clever at this here, Alex. You have to think, you know, it's a 50-minute race here. It's way too early to be making any sort of kamikaze dives up the inside here. Certainly, that's what I would say. Is we've got a car off into the inside there, and I think that's Casey. That is going to be John Casey.
That's John Casey. Yeah, John Casey spinning around more times than Kylie Minogue on one of her hit singles. We're going to have a look at, there we go, the first musical reference, and it's just coming through this. He's going to clip the curb, it unsettles the car, the back end's going to step out. I don't think he got a touch from behind. I think it was all self-induced there for the number 78 for 046 Racing. But he manages to get back out onto the circuit, and there is the number 78 Ferrari. What's happened to Jason Arensberg is the biggest thing, and also Gary Browner, the number 49, is out of the race too. So a couple of early casualties in this race, but they're all filtering their way through. Richie Tramaco sending it up the inside through the Spitzkehr on Steve Martinez, and the Aussie gets through, but then Martinez retakes the position on the run down into Mobile 1. That's going to be side by side between the pair. Tramaco's going to have that not going to have the inside line for the next corner, but Steve Martinez absolutely brave and brazen on the brakes there into the next right-hander. That was a great move there by Steve Martinez to keep it pinned around the outside of Richie Tramaco. We now go to the three battling, and this is at the front of the field. So you've got Dean Timms leading the way, Kai DL in second position, being absolutely hounded by the Celeritas Racing. Oh, and DL's just lost it. DL just lost it going through into the Nordkurve. DL just completely, he launched the car into the Nordkurve and the back end went out, and Kyle Boz was up there quicker than a rat up a drain pipe to stay out of the way. Yeah,
this disaster recovery now for DL right there. That was a huge fire up the inside there. So I've got no idea how he managed to keep that going in a straight line, but somehow he has. Great job there. Thankfully, there's a lot of runoff area here at Hockenheim.
Yeah, because he's got a couple of drivers not too far behind. He's going to make it 3 wide on the launch into Spitzkehr. There's everyone scrabbling for track position, and Kai DL just keeps it very, very neat and tidy. Ashraf El Haddad closing in on Justin Ristal for the race lead, and this will be in the next. Well, I think this will be in the. This will be in the Pro-Am class as Ashraf El Haddad. Oh, Ristal's gone very, very wide indeed, and that allowed James Nunn to get up through on the inside of the Spitzkehr to take second position. So the two Mercedes at the front of the field have been split as they go into, and that's by a Lamborghini. They've got a Porsche, that's Justin Delano not too far behind. Eric Kalaga running at the top 5, Richie Tramaco in 6th position, but Ashraf El Haddad keeping hold of the lead at early doors. Justin Delano goes a little bit wide on the run down into the very next corner. We now go into the AM classification. Jake Shear leading the way ahead of Andrew Hewitt. Matthew Plaisance holding on to P3. Then it is Michael Fowler being challenged by Braden Melling. Braden having won 2 out of 3 races, looking for a 3rd race victory in a row. And that BMW, he did say that the undercut could be mighty here, David.
He certainly did. Strategy played a big part, if I'm honest with you, during the EU race earlier on today, so really will be interesting to see. I think they get a lot of their ideas from maybe watching that earlier race, because certainly strategy-wise, everything's put all out on the table here. But to be honest with you, we definitely didn't have this. The Pro-Am still separated by what, 1 second? You've got about 20,000 cars there, Alex, separated by about 2 seconds. It's a bit wild in Pro-Am.
It sounds like a traffic jam on the M25 at rush hour, doesn't it? That's one way of putting it. You can see there the battle for 2nd in the class. So James Nunn holding on to 2nd position, but he's not that far ahead of Justin Ristow. He was battling away with Ashraf El Haddad, and look, they're still too wide going into the next right-hander. Someone is going to get fired exit stage left if they're not too careful. And where is Chase Wilson in all of this? Well, he's got Steve Martinez breathing up the inside of him at the moment, and Martinez makes a bit of a howler. I think he might have had a touch with Wilson, and Wilson's been compromised in the meantime. But Steve Martinez, let's just have a look. So they go into the Mobil 1 corner, and they're going to go into the next left-hander. Martinez goes for the lunge up the inside. There is going to be a touch between the pair, and I think that was a gap that Steve Martinez should never have gone for.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the great thing about that is that's the sort of comment that I would make and say, yeah, there was no right for that car to be there. However, if we watch it again from Stephen Martinez's cockpit, from his on-board sort of stuff here, you can see here just how little time he's got to react to this. He thinks, right, I'm going to make a move, and he sends it, and then as far as he's concerned, that car turns in on him. You can have a look to the right, but it's a difficult one, because when that car's already there, Alex, yeah, it's just and the thing is, it's an accident that didn't need to happen.
Yeah, I think the thing is that Chase Wilson probably was quite surprised the fact that Steve Martinez lunged it up the inside into the right-hander, and probably didn't expect it coming, because Steve Martinez was mighty on the brakes and he just launched it. He had the right to do it, so we'll see how Steve Martinez manages to move up the field. But it's Kyle Boz that now is the overall race leader. Paul Busby, I think, is struggling a little bit here. He's got a couple of cars to get through, and first of all is going to be Kai DL, who's now looking up the inside of Ryan Kabrowski. This is the Sachs curve. Oh, there was a touch between the pair, and DL lights up the 11s on the grass on the inside of the Sachs curve. That was a bit of a tough one to decide there, because DL did exactly what Steve Martinez did a couple of corners later. We're going to have a look from this. Now, this is Michael Kulaga in the 82 from Vulture Motorsports. He's got a BMW just behind him. Now, this is into the Sachs cover, and Kulaga's just lost it all on his own. But that was another incident, I think, as you said, might not have needed to have happened. The one with Kai DL.
He's going to have even more. I hate to say it, but yeah.
Oh, dearie me. Those famous last words from Mr. David Christie, you hate to see it.
You do hate to see it. Thankfully, I mean, like I say, the software that we use says that is a crash, that second one. So thankfully that wasn't. That was just a bit of injured pride here. But oh my good God, what is going on down here for Pro-Am? We've got, that's going to be straight into the back of Eric Kulaga again, isn't it? In the, excuse me, that's going to be the Lamborghini that's just in front. So that was Chase Wilson there. And I think that was actually Eric Kulaga, so still side by side.
He's got Corolla.
No quarter given here, Alex.
There's Carollo on his inside, and Wilson's going to get the inside line going into the Spitzkar. Justin Ristow, and there's the touch, and Wilson's been turned. Wilson's been turned there. The Lamborghini, he had the opportunity to go up the inside, and I think Jeff Carollo just turned in on him. But we're going to have another look here on the replay. So Carollo's to the immediate left-hand side of Chase Wilson. Wilson goes late on the brakes on the 52, and Carollo was turning in. I'm not too sure how the stewards are going to see that one post-race. But Chase Wilson, the thing is, because it's happened at this point, it's 10 minutes into this 50-minute race, Chase Wilson now will have a point to prove to showcase if he can do the monster of all undercuts in the pit stop phase.
Do you remember all that many hours ago, Alex, when I said it was a quiet race? I'm somewhat regretting making that comment now.
You see, I'm not the only one with the commentator's curse. But there we go. 10 minutes into this 50-minute race, we're now looking at the Bannerlin Pro-Am. Brent Bravata having a better time in the number 11 Twisted Racing car, but he's got, that is one of the Olympus Esports cars just behind him in the Mercedes, right up his rear bumper. And they're going into the Einfahrt Parabolica. And that's Adam Moy, who's actually just behind, but Bravata's right on the back bumper of Ristau. Now, Ristau's had a bit of a drama in the meantime. He was running along with Ashraf El Haddad, but lost out to Nunn for second position, dropped down to third, as they're heading into the hard braking zone here into the Spitzkehre, as Moy looks towards the inside. There's James Nunn, who's now got past Ashraf El Haddad, so the Lamborghini makes it through into the race lead. There's Justin Delano in third position. We're going to have a look at a replay here. Oh, that's a great little move there from James Nunn as Ashraf El Haddad just went wide. I didn't see any contact there between the pair of them, but James Nunn timed that to perfection. The Lamborghini squeezed through on the Mercedes for the race lead.
Yeah, that was a really nice clean move there. That's 9/10 of the battle there, Alex, is you want to force your opponent into making a mistake so you don't actually have to do anything. So really, really good move there. And you know, it's safe to say these Twisted team cars are having a wicked day, mostly because there's about 40 of them taking part in this race tonight. But that is going to be Brent Bravata almost running into Justin Rousseau just up in front.
Yeah, Ristau's not having a great second race, but that could all change in the pit stop phase as they head their way down into the Nordkurve. The right-hander taking it around about fourth gear, probably the best part of 200 kilometers per hour in these GT3 machines, but Bravata's got a real good run. I think if he lines it up well out of the Einfahrt Parabolica that they're coming through now, so it's a right, then into a left, and look how close Bravata is on Ristau. He's going to get the mother of all slipstreams.
It's just fascinating stuff to watch here as Ristau. And this is the thing, we saw so many accidents with cars being a little bit overly aggressive coming into here, but thankfully just now, as that's late on the brakes up the inside there, oh man, that was almost an instant case of commentator's curse right there, because I think that was Adam Moy that was just so late on the brakes. In fact, sorry, it was Chris Long who just left it until last week to go into the brakes here. However, Ashraf El Haddad dropped down to third place, and looks like Richie Chickamarco fancies getting this as well.
Yeah, I think Ristau and possibly El Haddad. It seems like that hairpin seems to be a weakness for the Mercedes, as Chase Wilson is all over the back bumper of Moy and Long. And Ristau's really coming into strife because Moy's going to send it up the inside, and Wilson's going to probably have the door open for him. This is through Sachskurve. Ristau runs wide again, this time on the AstroTurf. Slots in front of Wilson into the next right-hander, and there's a little bit of a touch. Wilson has to back out of it. Nearly has, that was nearly, I think that was Wilson just behind actually. Chase Wilson having, that was Errol Yurksoy, I believe, as Harry Wills and Paul Busby now going into battle over P3. This is the run down to the hairpin at the end of the Parabolica, the Spitzkehre. And who is going to get the better run out of the corner? It could be that Busby might get a better run. Look, he's already into the rear wing, the slipstream, and they're going to go into the next right-hander. This is going to be very nip and tuck between the pair. Busby runs a little bit wide, but keeps it pinned. He's going to line it up for the next left-hander, but Harry Wills again. That seems to be his sweet spot, as Harry Wills. He loves that little part of the complex as we ride on board from the rear diffuser of the Mercedes, currently running in P3 overall, with coming up to quarter of an hour completed of this 50-minute race. Busby hasn't been as, let's just say, I wouldn't say the word impressive, I would say have his authority like he did in race 2 at Spa, and also the earlier race tonight.
Yeah, no, that's a fair comment actually, Alex, because the thing is we've said this, you know, we were saying this earlier on, the fact that you know, you can walk up to a race and he can start from, like, say, P7 or P8 and just tear his way through the field. And then usually 20 minutes later, completely on his own, he'll have binned it because he's pushed that little bit too hard.
Oh, right. Well, there's been a big development in the AM class because Braden Melling has been in the pits for over 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and Matthew Plaisance has been in there for nearly 45 seconds. So what on earth has happened to the ERS by Skyline guys? That's a big development in the AM class because there could be quite a few other drivers. Now, this is what we're going to see here. So you've got Matthew Plaisance and Braden Melling going through into the Nord Curva. Plaisance leads it. Oh, it tags into Melling, and they both go out. Oh no.
That's
ouch.
That's going to be an awkward team talk, isn't it? Goodness me.
Oh, that's a real shame for both drivers. I mean, the amount of damage sustained on both cars. I mean, just having a secondary look through what happened. I mean, it's just the fact that Plaisance just lost the back end. It fishtailed, went right, snapped left, and then Braden Melling had nowhere else to go, so it was a real shame.
Alex?
Yeah.
Do you remember what I said about Harry Wills?
Go on. Oh no, here we go. Right. So he's closing in on, that's one of the other twist. That's Dean Timms, isn't it? Oh no, he's lost the braking big time, and he's just. Oh my goodness, this Merc is not loving this hairpin.
Do you remember what I said about him pushing too hard and like all by himself? Just call it. Yeah, there we go. That's peak Harry Wills right there, and it's so frustrating because, like we said, we've spoken about this before. He is damn fast in that car. But it's just like he needs to you know, realise where the limit of that car is. But the thing, like I said when I was talking to him before the race, he said he needs the car to move around. He needs that car to be fluid. Otherwise, he just can't drive it. But the problem with that here in iRacing is you do that, you've got no idea. You literally get no feedback as to when you can control it and when you can't control it. So it's an absolute knife edge for Harry Wills. But thankfully, he's only lost one position.
Yeah, that's to the 3-time race winner so far this season, Paul Busby, who now Wills was a little bit more, I think, a bit more sensible going into the Parabolica that particular occasion. But now Busby's going to pull away from that Mercedes. I mean, we had a chat with a couple of drivers that said, yeah, I think who is it? Sean Ryan he said, oh, and Harry Wills again finding more than the limit. Going into the approach into the Sachs curve through Mobil 1, Harry was nearly going rally crossing through the kitty litter, and then it's all kicking off in Pro-Am because we've got Eric Kalaga, that's also Adam Moy, and Chase Wilson, who now rounds out the top 10. Looks like they've got, who is that? That is Chris Long, the race 1 winner from earlier tonight, just in front. Andrew Rasmussen, on the other hand, the number 12, based out of Illinois, closing in on Jake Shear for the race lead, and this is in the AM class. So we are gonna have our third different race winner so far this season, as Harry Wills more dramas, and he's it's just like it's like you know, when someone, right, we're gonna have a look at the replay. Okay, so this is going to be into the Einfahrt Parabolica, and Harry turns it in. Wait for it. Oh, loses the back end.
Oh, that's just brake bias. I don't understand that. That's the brake bias is set too far towards the back. That ends up setting the weight of the back end over past the front, and makes it very unstable under braking. So yeah, he needs to get that brake bias shifted more towards the front. But the problem with that is that it makes the car slower on under braking. But yeah, that's difficult to watch.
Well, he definitely yeeted his back end around on his own. He's again in the mire. Chase Wilson's getting his elbows out with Eric Galaga through the Spitzkehrer and gets through for 9th position. But yeah, I think that was a self-yeet incident there for Harry Wills. So the first, well, twice in the last 30 seconds that I've used the word yeet.
I'm saying nothing on that one. Right, we've got a big problem as well because Jake Scherer has just went all the way down. Now I believe that's because Jake's been into the pits. That could be a very, very clever move from Jake Scherer. However, Jason Aronsberg is back out on track, having done, get this, 5 pit stops.
5 pits. Well, his last pit stop was only. Yeah, 16 seconds he was in the pits last time around. But now we go to the battle for this is actually for the Pro-Am class lead, because look at Justin Delano. That Porsche seems to be lit up and firing on all of those 6 cylinders and that flat 6 turbo engine, because he's really pressurizing the driver that's been in the race lead for a little bit of time now. That is James Nunn in the number 75. This is getting rather tasty in Pro-Am, isn't it?
It's getting very, very nice indeed, and I'm just hoping that saner heads prevail here. In fact, you can see that from Justin Delano here, late onto the brakes, but heavily onto the brakes. That means that he can hold it down and keep things going here. Meanwhile, behind we've got a hell of a battle going on between Jeff Carroll and Brent Bravata.
Yeah, Brent Bravata looking for, what is that, for 5th place. He's going to look up the inside if he dares, and he bumps over the curbs. He keeps it nicely pinned there, though. Brent, unfortunately, it's a better time around, but Carollo, that back end of that Lamborghini, looking a little bit sideways from time to time, but Bravata looks to be a little bit more planted in the car behind, doesn't he, for the moment?
Yeah, he's looking very, very happy. And the thing is, as well, is it's like what we said earlier. You want to be behind the car in front and try to force them into making a mistake. Now, what I'm trying to figure out as well is surely that's got to be some sort of a mistake here with Jason Aronsberg, because it's still showing him as on the lead lap here. So I'm wondering if it's maybe his connection issues when he goes past the pits. It's making it think that he's taking a pit stop, because he's only about 3 seconds behind Charles Bushell.
Yeah, but this is a good battle here, though, because they've got Chris Long not too far behind either, and also Adam Moy. Chase Wilson is trying to close on in. He's not too far adrift, but James Nunn still holding on to the Pro-Am class lead as they're heading into the Spitzkar. As you can see, the sun is starting to set a little bit here at the Hockenheimring, providing us with that lovely red evening glow around the circuit. And here comes Chris Long. That's going to be up the inside of Brent Bavada as the BMW manages to keep out of the way of the Mercedes. The Mercedes had a bit of a sluggish run coming out of the Spitzkar there, but Bravada very much on the case on Chris Long. But at the moment, Jeff Carollo still leading that, so we're going to have a look and see what happens here. Now, this is the run down into the Spitzkar. Brent Bavada he's doing the old Nigel Mansell dummy, a little bit of a touch between the pair, and then Carollo gives him a little bit of a touch, as in taste of your own medicine there, mate. And Brent Bavada was quickly on the headlight flashes right there.
Yeah, that was a nice little bit of action going on there. Harry Wills into the pit lane there. So yeah, it was quite fun. As you see, it looks like is that Brent Bravata into pit lane.
Yep, that is indeed. So he goes into pit lane. So the first few pit stops now happening. How long is Harry Wills going to be in the pit lane for? Well, it's about to hit 20 seconds. 21.8 seconds was how long Harry Wills was in the pit lane. So he's hoping that might give him an opportunity to move a bit further up the order. But I'm just keeping an eye on this battle here. This is Dan Tenorio versus Dave Menino, with Dave Menino in the number 2 car, the Lamborghini, keeping hold of that 4th position, whereas Paul Busby is 5.6 seconds up the road. And what's more, Busby is closing in on Dean Timms at a big old rate of knots. Paul Busby last time around, David, at a 1 minute 36.04. Dean Timms a 1 minute 36.93. Is the comeback charge of the Porsche Cavalry coming back again to haunt everybody in the overall classification in the Pro class?
A very complicated question there, Alex, summed up I think by one word: yes. Busby is absolutely on it right now. I mean, the pace that they've got is just stupid right now, so good. However, you know, it's that old cliche, isn't it? It's one thing catching them; they have to be able to get past here. That's the main thing.
Definitely the old saying said by the late great Murray Walker: it's one thing to catch somebody, it's another thing altogether to pass them. And Busby has been on fire these first 3 races of the season. His biggest winning margin, and now he tries to pull out back towards the right hand side. It's very close, and there's a little bit of a touch between the pair, and there's a secondary clash, and Busby holds back and lets Timms go back through to stay in second position. Good sportsmanship there from Paul Busby. He knew he dropped the ball and he went, right, sorry about that, that's your position. And now they go back at it again. So that's the battle for second position as we're past half time in this 50-minute sprint race. But a little bit further back, it's nearly 3 abreast going into the Spitzkehrer as Chris Long, Jeff Carollo and Adam Moy battling away over 5th, 6th and 7th in the Pro-Am class. That looks to be Errol Yuruksoy not too far behind in 8th place. He's about 3.7 seconds behind this battle, but he could close on in if they continue to battle, and they're covered by less than 0.6 of a second. Carollo trying to get a little bit more of an aggressive momentum carry through the corners. That was through the S-bend there. So now going through the short run down as the camera vibrates as they all shoot their way past into the Mobil 1 corner. A little bit of a wide line taken by Jeff Carollo in the Lamborghini, but managing to keep it on the anchors, going nice and neatly through the inside of the Sachs Curve here at the Hockenheimring. But he's not too far behind Chris Long. Chris Long was the race 1 winner, but now Chris Long dives into pit lane. Carollo and Moy move up to 5th and 6th respectively as a result of that.
Brilliant stuff to say, and again, strategy is going to be so important in this race here. We've got the top 6 cars here, separated by about 6 seconds, so this is going to be a very curious way to see how this actually unfolds here. Also, just noticing that Dan Tenorio and Dave Manoa side by side. Great run there, but Manoa, you've got to say, just took so much speed into that corner. I'll be honest, I didn't think he was getting that stop there.
That Lamborghini, you know what they say, appearances can be deceiving. Andrew Rasmussen in the meantime battling away with Jason Ahrensberg, and then they've got Joseph just up ahead. That's Paul Joseph Clist, Charles Bushell. Richard Rosado has just come out of the pit lane after nearly a 25-second stop, but there is Rasmussen, who is closing in on Ahrensberg with Joseph up ahead, Charles Bushell, Rick Swan rounding out the top 3. Daniel Florea was having issues with his wheel hub for race 1, which is why he ended up out of the race, but he's still currently in 2nd position behind Michael Fowler. So there is going to be a new race winner in the AM class, but who is it going to be? That's the biggest question that we need answering, as it's all kicking off between Ahrensberg, Joseph, Rasmussen. Rasmussen up the inside of Ahrensberg going through the Spitzkehrer. And yeah, that was a nice move by the Audi. Well, this is getting a bit close for comfort. Carollo versus Moy going through into the Nord cover, and Adam Moy gets through. So nice work by the number 26 from Olympus Esports there.
It really was. The nicest moves, I think, Alex, are the ones that look very plain and simple, because they take so much work to actually get themselves into that position here. And I've got to be honest, I absolutely adore the livery on this car. It is such a good looking car. Is Adam Moy here. I mean, it's just a really nice looking livery on the back of that thing.
Yeah, you can definitely see it. It catches a few eyes as well. And nice to hear from Chase Wilson about the inspiration. Ooh. As Justin Delano sends it around the outside. Oh, that's a beautiful move there by Justin Delano on Nunn there for James Nunn for the race lead in the Pro-Am class. And look who's joined the party. The Aussie Cavalry has arrived, courtesy of Richie Tremaco. And these drivers are separated by about 0.6 of a second, but Justin Delano with another great move. He was taking I think he took a leaf out of the playbook of one Sean Ryan from race 1, didn't he, right there?
He certainly did, and the thing is that we kind of didn't see this one coming, this little three-way battle between Justin Delano, James Nunn and Richie Trickmarkle. So brilliant start to this, but halfway is gone, come and gone in this race here, Alex. It's been a fascinating story so far, so I think with it being halfway, it's time to do a little rundown of the classes.
Yep, so leading the way in the Pro class, it is a new race leader. It is Kyle Boz from Celeritas Sim Racing in the number 3, and he's got Paul Busby trying to close in a gap which is 5.1 seconds. Then it's Dean Timms from Twisted Racing Team in the number 46. Dave Menino still battling away with Dan Tenorio in 5th position. So great running by them at the moment. That's your top 5 in the Pro class. And it's Justin Delano with a howitzer of a move around the outside of James Nunn, who now is about 7 and a bit tenths of a second behind. Richie Tremaco completes the top 3. Then it's Ashraf El Haddad in 4th, with Adam Moy in the number 26 completing the top 5. But then it's Michael Fowler from Twisted Racing leading the AM class by just under half a second from the recovering Daniel Florea, who's up multiple positions, actually a total of 15 positions in this race. Andrew Rasmussen, Jason Arensberg and Paul Joseph Clist rounding out the top 5, despite the fact that Braden Melling and Matthew Plaisance having a bit of a drama when the two teammates came together in the turn 1 incident that we saw earlier on. We are under 20 minutes to go until the checkered here in race 2 at round 2 of season 4 of the IMB Racewear World Series League GT3 championship for the USA, as Dave Menino and Dan Tenorio at it again. But Menino really managing to put the anchors on the Lamborghini and placing it perfectly through the Spitzkehrer there, David.
Beautiful stuff. That's exactly what you want to see there. Is you know, all through the field, you've got these little pockets, these little battles that are going on. You've got Justin Rousseau and Stephen Martinez fighting it out there. But again, gaps are starting to open up here. Michael Fowler, the battle for the lead of AM right now. So this is going to be a very tasty little fight that's going on, especially with that car coming out is Ashraf El Haddad blocking the AM leader. So this is not what you wanted to see for these two right now, and I get the feeling that you're going to see a very interesting move about to happen here.
Yeah, this is going through the Parabolica into the Spitzkehrer, so Fowler has got to very quickly get through, so at least Florea doesn't have an opportunity to strike. Jason Arensberg now in pit road and has just parked the car up. Oh, as Fowler loses it, and that gives Daniel Florea the race lead in the in the class, and we're going to see it here. So Fowler hard on the brakes, turns it in down into first gear, just boots the throttle, and it spools up the rear tyres, and around he goes.
Being a consummate professional, Alex, I've never ever in my life done that with a Merc AMG GT3 ever. I said that with a straight face as well. It's like it's a daily occurrence.
I was really tempted to say one word after that, but you caught me off guard there, Mr. Christie. Brent Bavada having a battle here with James Hebb. Now this is for 13th position. So Brent looking to move his way back up the order, but I was going to say the word a lie, perchance, Mr. Christie? No.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
But James Hebb now pulls into pit lane. Quite a few drivers have yet to pit. We still have just over, 16 minutes remaining in the race, as Brent Bavada, having already served his pit stop on lap number 14, spending just under 21 seconds in pit lane. The quickest pit stop so far, Dan Tenorio, 12 seconds. And also Charles Bushell, actually 11.83. So those two drivers have probably put in the least amount of fuel, probably because they thought, well, I don't need so much this time around. Let's just see what happens. But in these feature races, fuel mileage cannot be underestimated in any way, stretch or form, David.
No, absolutely, it cannot whatsoever, Alex. The thing with that as well is that, especially when you're seeing like half the field's pitted and half the field's not, it's way too early to like make any proper predictions. But with how quickly things can change, we've seen it so often that the undercut works out so well. But with how predictable this track here is, Alex, there's 15 minutes left to go. I don't think we're going to have any idea until 5 minutes left to go.
Well, you know what we were saying about Paul Busby, and I said, well, he's got a 5.1 second advantage to make up. He's now absolutely decimated that gap. It was 5.1 seconds. It's now 3.3 and closing. Last time around, he was running, David, get this, 1 minute 35.7s. Kyle Bosz, who's 3.3 seconds up the road from him, last time around did a 1 minute 36.2. So Busby is the best part of 0.6 of a second quicker as Kyle Bosz now jumps into the pit lane for his mandatory pit stop, and he's actually gone onto the grass going into the entrance. That's not what Kyle Bosz wanted.
That was I don't
Code Brown.
Yeah, I don't have any polite words left for that one. Let's have a look on board. Oh, that's not great.
At least that wasn't the complete front end nerfing the barriers completely, because that could have been a hell of a lot worse.
The problem with that, Alex, though, is that it's the small, almost meaningless accidents that seem to have the worst damage on things. However, he's straight back out, which means that he's going to be into second place for just now, but comfortably out ahead of the likes of Dave Menino.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of pit lane activity at the moment. I see that Justin Delano and James Nunn in the Pro-Am class have now come into the pits. So the pit stops are coming thick and fast, as we are now less than a quarter of an hour away from waving the checkered flag, and Daniel Florea leading the way in the in what is the AM class, and he's got a lead of about 21 seconds. So the biggest thing, Daniel Florea has yet to do a pit stop. Neither has Adam Moy in the number 26 in the Olympus Esports car. So a couple of drivers really hanging out until the last moment possible.
And it's a big gamble. It's going to be worthwhile to see whether or not they can actually make some big moves. For me personally, as Paul Busby does come into the pits here, we'll have to keep an eye on Kyle Bosz, but I think that the earlier you pit, the more of an advantage you tend to have in terms of like making up time and things like that here, Alex.
Well, the thing is that how long is Paul Busby going to be in the pit box for? And there is Kyle Bosz. He's going to retake the race lead. It comes out of Sudkurva. Paul Busby off the jacks, 12.6 seconds. He's now going to run towards the exit of the pit lane as Kyle Bosz at full racing speed. Yeah, Kyle Bosz might have it, but Busby's going to be up to full speed. This is going to be close. Busby's got him. Busby got him on the undercut. Brilliantly done there by Paul Busby to keep ahead of Kyle Bosz. It was literally going to be meters in it. It was probably no more than about 75 to 100 meters at best, because Kyle Bosz knew he would have been aware of when Paul Busby pitted, and Busby has just done, I think, one of the textbook undercuts of the season so far.
Absolutely. I'm trying to think that it's so late in the day and my brain is just not working when it comes to like superlatives just off the top of my head. That was exemplary what Paul Busby just did there. I mean, we saw, it's one thing to just charge through the field. We knew that he had pace there, but to have the awareness and the belief in yourself that you've still got that, and then bring that in later on. But knowing that your opposition,
Kyle Bosz was a very lucky boy there. He went over the sausage curves. It made the car fishtail to the left-hand side. And Kyle Bosz, I think, just had another Code Brown moment. Forget the entrance to the pit lane whilst he's trying to chase down Paul Busby for the race lead.
I was looking at the timing screen when that happened. My heart has literally just stopped when that happened there. And Harry Wills has crashed again. Let's all enjoy this.
Oh dear, it's the Wills freight train, and it's again down in that infamous hairpin. What's he going to do now? He's going to turn it in. Oh, Harry, what you doing? That was a bit too close for comfort there.
That's fine.
But
I'll give him that one.
Given the benefit of the doubt, and already Paul Busby has clawed away into the distance by 1.2 seconds. He was half a second ahead at the end of the pit stop phase. Chase Wilson, in the meantime, closing in on Adam Moy and Ashraf El Haddad. Now this is the battle for P4, and you know, Chase Wilson, he was getting his elbows out a little bit earlier on. We're going to have another replay here. This is John Casey, who we saw spinning around a little bit earlier on. Then Charles Bushell into the Nordkurve. And that's Sean Ryan, I think, that's just got through on the pair of them. And Sean Ryan's currently sitting, I think, in, what is that, 7th position. And Casey's going to keep it around the outside. They nearly have a little touch there. Probably a slight paint rub at the very, very least on that occasion. But Chase Wilson has got a genuine opportunity of gunning for what will be 4th position in the class with just under 10 minutes to rock and roll.
Yeah, that's right, as we're watching them come almost side by side into the hairpin here. Adam Moy and Chase Wilson, as well as that's Ashraf Al Haddad. So that's not for, you know, they're not on the podium, but they're still door to door, proper trading paint. And Brett Bravata and Charles Bushell have come in at each other.
Oh dearie me, but Chase Wilson is really... Oh right, let's have a look at this one. Oh, Bravada's just lost it on the curbing and gone around. Oh dear, but he... Oh!
Nope.
Oh, that was
not
never
having
that.
Absolutely not having that at all, Brent Bravata. That is, you do not do that.
Should have held on to the brakes on that one, I'm afraid.
Well, not just that, but he reversed back out on the track, right? So he's here and then reverses out. Nah.
He's thought, he's thought the way was clear, and yeah, the number 53, that's Stephen Martinez, gets caught up, and as a result of that, he thought he might have enough chance to avoid, but unfortunately not on that occasion. We ride on board with Adam Moy. This is the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th. Chase Wilson trying to close in on Ashraf El Haddad. Now this is going to be very close. This is into the Einfahrt Parabolica of all places, and Wilson's got it lined up. Now going through into the left-hander. Chase Wilson has got through. Moy's going to pin it around the outside of El Haddad through the Parabolica and have the inside line for the Spitzkar. This is great racing right here in the Pro-Am class. So Wilson, get this, with 8 minutes to go, David, is only 1.6 seconds behind the 3rd place car of James Nunn. So let's see how Chase Wilson manages to get through as Moy keeps ahead of El Haddad. And then just behind them, that looks to be possibly, that is Chris Long. Chris Long's come into this mix now, hasn't he? That was Chase Wilson. That was Chase Wilson. I think Chase Wilson had nowhere to go. So, yeah, with that connection and lag spike there, that might have caused a little bit of front end damage to Wilson. Yeah, he's not gonna catch up onto 3rd position. Well, it's not gonna catch up to 2nd position and 3rd position. See, it's even late. It's very, very late. See how we're getting things wrong. As Richard Rosado, that is Paul Busby that's just gone literally hooning around the outside. And Busby over Carl Boz has now extended a lead of 4.5 seconds with the best part, I think it's 6.5 minutes to go. But Chase Wilson has got, that's 8.5 seconds between him and James Nunn. But Adam Moy definitely keeping Chase Wilson very honest there.
It certainly is, and just keeping an eye all the way through the field here. It's been a brilliant race that we've had so far. The 2nd race of the brand new IMB GT3 season here at World Series Leagues. We kicked things off last week at Spa, but I've got to be honest, this has been an absolute thriller. The US one definitely more than, say, the EU one, for example.
Yeah, well, Michael Kalaga is 11th position in the class, but we now go back to this battle. This is Ashraf El Haddad, who is dropped behind, of all people, El Yuruksoy. We're going to have a look at a replay here. So this will be Ashraf El Haddad. Yuruksoy is behind. Yuruksoy, I think, might go... Well, let's have a look what happens into the Spitzkehrer. El Haddad runs wide. And that just opens both big barn doors at the farm open wide for El Yuruksoy there. So El Haddad on the back foot. Chase Wilson currently sitting in 4th place. Picked up P3 in the sprint race earlier on, but still has... Adam Moy closing in as we now head our way into around about the final 5 minutes of the race. So I think let's just give you a quick update on the top 5 respectively in the classes. Paul Busby leading the pro class by 4.7 nearly 4.8 seconds ahead of Carl Boz in the number 3 car. Dan Tenorio having a great run in the pro class this time ahead of Dave Meneno, with Car DL recovering now to 5th position. As Busby looking to get past, that is the number 77 of James Hebb, who runs very, very wide to the high line of the Sachs curve. Justin Delano leading the Pro-Am class, nearly 4.5 seconds up the road from Richie Tremaco, with James Nunn completing the top 3. Chase Wilson and Adam Moy embroiled in the battle for the 4th and 5th respectively. And then we head down in towards the AM classification for the final time. Andrew Rasmussen for Twisted Racing Team leading Daniel Florea, who was at one point leading the race here in the AM class. Gap between them now just under 2.6 seconds. Michael Fowler in 3rd, with Rich Swan and Jake Shear rounding out the top 5 in the AM classification, but still with 4 minutes to go. Paul Busby has been absolutely magnificent so far over all 4 races, dominated by nearly 14 seconds in the opener here tonight. And now look at the gap he's got over Carl Boz. It's nearly 5 seconds.
Yeah, but look at that gap behind Boz to Tenorio and Menino. This is going to be a 3-way fight for the final spots on the podium here. This is brilliant stuff. And don't discount the fact that there's only 5 minutes left to go. If DL gets brought into this fight as well, he's going to bring Timms up to him, as well. And Dean Timms, I think, the early stages of this race, you would have guaranteed he would have been having a podium, or at least thinking he would have had a podium.
Oh, definitely, 100% there, David. But you can see now that Dave Tenorio getting the run coming out of the first part of the infield as they run through Mobile 1, as Carl Boz goes to the kitty litter with both left wheels as they go into the approach into the Sachs curve. And Carl Boz a little bit further behind. We see Paul Busby just going through into the exit of Sud curve. We go back to Chase Wilson, who still has Adam Moy trying to keep close to him. The gap is about half a second as they now make their way through into the next right-hander, which will then bring them into the next part of the circuit, where we've seen quite a few nice overtakes, including the one that was done by Justin Delano a little bit earlier on James Nunn. But Chase Wilson still keeping hold of that 4th position ahead of Adam Moy. As we run down the timer, we're going to come in towards the final 3 minutes very shortly, and here is the battle for 2nd position overall. Dan Tenorio now fractionally in front. They've got a couple of back markers. I think that's Fowler just up ahead, and Boz will launch it up the inside of Tenorio. Tenorio keeps it pinned to the outside, will run a little bit wide in the exit on the Schwitzkehrer. Now they go into the next right-hander, and Tenorio, I think, here is a very, very dangerous driver in this Porsche. And as long as Carl Boz keeps it on the black stuff, he'll stay ahead of Tenorio, David.
Oh, but the problem is they've got all this traffic that they're trying to get around as well. But also, there's Dave Menino around the back of them as well. So he's just got a second off the back of that there. I think he ran wide a little bit on the exit of that corner with Kai DL just trying to catch him up, but it looks like that's going to be the final lap for Paul Busby. He's going to just start his final lap very, very soon.
Yes, it's indeed. 1 minute and a quarter left to go in the race. We're going to go on to the final lap. It's going to be 31 laps of this 4.574 kilometre circuit. We go back to Jake Shear in the number 62 car, trying to close in. That is on Rick Swan for 4th position for that, but then it's well, you've also got Richard Rosado actually just there in the number 10 car. Not been an easy one for Richard. Chase Wilson still keeping Adam Moy at bay for 4th place as we are 40 seconds away from the timer hitting 50 minutes. And at the moment, there is one driver that is standing up on cloud 9 thus far, as he's on the course of getting 2 wins at Spa-Francorchamps and 2 wins here at the Hockenheimring before we go to the Styrian Alps and to the Red Bull Ring next week. But Carl Boz still being pressurised. Dan Tenorio there waiting in the wings to see if he can get the opportunity he requires as they go into the right-hander here at Mobile 1. And they're at over 140 miles an hour, down the gears into just under 50 miles an hour, up the gears now through the right, through the left, through the right. They're actually going to go into the short run down into Mobile 1, which is to stay on board for the moment with Dan Tenorio. So go into Mobile 1, and there, however, is your race leader, Paul Busby. 2 wins last week. It's going to be another double hit for the number 98 from Great Britain, Paul Busby, out of the Südkurve for the final time. It's 2 wins at Spa. He makes it 2 wins here at Hockenheim and nearly loses the back end of the process. But the run to the line for 2nd and 3rd. Kyle Boz will pit Dan Tenorio. It could be a run to the finish, and it is. Boz takes 2nd, and Tenorio takes 3rd. Dave Menano takes P4. Kai DL recovers to finish in 5th ahead of Dean Timms. But it's going to be a new winner in the Pro-Am class. We've had one already today with Chris Long. This time it's going to be Vulture Motorsports' Justin Delano in the number 38 Porsche that's going to come across the line and take the Pro-Am class win. And he will win it by very comfortably. Someone just, oh dearie me, that's a post-checkered incident right there. Whoops. With Richie Tremaco taking 2nd position, James Nunn taking 3rd, Chase Wilson, another steady finish, not having placed outside of the top 5 so far this season, 3rd in race 1 and 4th in race 2. But now it's going to be a new race winner, a 3rd different race winner, not just in Pro-Am but also in the Am class, because Andrew Rasmussen in the number 12 Audi comes out of the Südkurve and will win the Am class in the feature race here at the Hockenheimring by close to 4.5 seconds ahead of Daniel Florea, who had steering wheel arm troubles in race 1 but has come back with a bang to finish 2nd. So, and I've just been informed that Gary Brown unfortunately has been having network issues, but we'll have a look at the race results for all 3 classes. So first of all, we're going to go to the pro results here at round 2 here at Hockenheimring for the feature race, and it was Paul Busby that took the win. Another great performance for the number 98. Carl Boz held on to the race for so long until Busby effected the perfect undercut here at the Hockenheimring, and Boz would end up finishing 2nd, 6 seconds behind. Dan Tenorio was close on the number 3's back bumper for the final few moments of the race, with the number 17 Porsche ending up in 3rd position. Dave Menano in the number 2 Lamborghini, and Kai DL in the number 44 ERS by Skyline Designs Lamborghini will round out the top 5 ahead of Dean Timms, Sean Ryan with Harry Wills and Ryan Kaprowski completing the 9-strong running order in the Pro class. In Pro-Am, a new race winner in the form of Vulture Motorsports' Justin Delano, winning by 6.6 seconds ahead of Richie Tremaco from Middle Split Racing, with James Nunn in the number 75 rounding out the top 3. Chase Wilson not placing outside of the top 4 all season so far after the opening 4 races. Finishes in 4th ahead of Adam Moy with Chris Long, Errol Yuruksoy, Ashraf El Haddad, Eric Kalaga, Justin Ristow, Michael Kalaga, James Hebb, Richard Rosado, Steve Martinez, Brent Bravada, Jeff Carollo and Gary Brown, who's had network issues so far tonight, so we haven't seen a good run from the number 49. And then last but by certainly no means least, we head to the Am classification, and it was Andrew Rasmussen that took the win by 4.381 seconds ahead of Daniel Florea, who was hanging on to that race lead for quite a considerable amount of time. The number 20 Twisted Racing Ferrari would finish in 2nd position. Michael Fowler completes the top 3 ahead of Rich Swan, Jake Shear, Andrew Hewitt, John A. Casey, Paul Joseph, Charles Bushell, Matthew Plaisance, Jason Arensberg and Braden Melling rounding out the running order. Well, actually, I think what we need to do is have a chat with some drivers. So first of all, let's bring in our Am class winner for the feature race. Let's bring in Andrew Rasmussen. Andrew, a very good evening. Firstly, congratulations on the race win. Wasn't easy out there, was it?
Hey, thanks, Alex. No, a lot of attrition. It was mayhem for a bit there, but it was fun.
I think Spa was a very, very different circuit. I think a lot of you drivers will agree that Hockenheim has its own characteristics, but how was the Audi around the circuit? Because BMW had a bit of a meritocracy here. We had quite a few Mercedes, but a few lesser spotted Audis, including your own.
Well, to be honest, I jumped into the Spa race on a fixed base setup, and it did not go well. So the car is very, very quick, though, when you set it up correctly. And I spent some time with Harry earlier this week, dialing a couple things in, and then made a couple changes over the last couple days. And yeah, it was fast.
Yeah, that pace definitely did show, but of course you've been battling hard with Braden Melling and Matthew Plaisance quite a bit this season already, and we're only into round 2 before we head to Austria next week. But to get that first win, that first W on the board, you must be feeling pretty good. That's a maximum haul of 60 points for that race. Must give you a lot of motivation going into next week.
Yeah, I'm excited after a couple tough rounds. I'm going to see if I can take the fight to him.
Brilliant. Well, Andrew, congratulations on your first AM class win of the season. We'll look forward to seeing you next week at the Red Bull Ring.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Well, we're going to have a chat now with the two teammates. I know it was an unfortunate incident. So let's bring in Matthew Plaisance and Braden Melling, if we can bring both of them in. Guys, firstly, a difficult race for you both. Matthew, just tell us what happened from your perspective on the T1 incident that occurred earlier on.
Well, all in practice, I did that a lot. Just lost control, but every single time I always drifted right into the wall. This time it snapped left, unfortunately, and even if I'd have had the awareness to tell him to avoid, I would have told him to go left because I always went to the right, so it was just very unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, Braden, to be caught up in an unfortunate incident, that just goes to show how tough racing can be, can't it?
Yeah, I mean, it is something that is frustrating when it happens, but again, it's just the nature of racing. It's just sometimes stuff like this happens, and you just got to kind of take it on the chin, and then just that point on, you just got to look forward to the next race and start getting ready for that one.
I mean, how are you guys feeling ahead of going into, so we've been to Belgium, we've now been at Germany, and now we're heading to Austria next week. How do you think you're both going to fare?
Well, Red Bull Ring is always going to be one of those tracks where it's going to be very dangerous no matter where you are. It's kind of one of those tracks that has a bit more of an aggressive nature to it, mainly because of the high speeds and hard braking points into all the corners. But I think with a little bit of practice, we could probably manage to get ourselves back up onto that 1-2 there, or even just double podium would be nice too. But I think this is probably just a little hiccup in our progress for this race for the season, but I think we'll make a good comeback from this one.
Well, guys, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us. Have a very good evening. We'll see you in a week's time at the Red Bull Ring.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so big thank you to Braden and Matthew for taking the time to talk to us. Let's have a chat with our runner-up in the Pro class. Held on to the lead right up until the dying moments, until the pit stop phase happened. Let's have a chat with Kyle Boz, the number 3 driver. Kyle, a very good evening. That win was looking so good, and then Paul just threw that undercut and pulled the rug under your feet, so to speak. He came out with meters to spare, didn't he?
He did. I didn't do myself any justice. I put it right in the wall on entry, on the pit wall, so didn't do myself any justice there. So definitely a cocktail of bad luck and some bad driving by me on that part. But Bugsby, he's incredible. He's a great driver.
I mean, yeah. I mean, coming back to that incident in the pit lane, we both, myself and David, were very, very surprised indeed that, did you just miss your braking point, or was just the car just going in a little bit too hot when that happened?
Coming in a little too hot, a little bit too much confidence, and there wasn't kind of lapse of thought on my end.
But still to be, to still finish second. I mean, okay, we'll be honest. Paul was absolutely dominant tonight in both races, like he was at Spa-Francorchamps last week. But still to be second behind him, You know, it was one of those things we just thought it's always that what could have been, couldn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was really feeling I had a pretty rough qualifying in the first round too, and then both times now I've started from the back and I had some pretty good attrition there and got up there, and then this one, just that good old traction control on the BMW on the exit got me on the curb. So it was a good fight though. It was fun. I was hoping to give him a good run for his money, but we'll get him next one. I can't thank Solaritas enough for giving me a ride this season. They've been an absolute blast to work and train with, so I'm definitely looking forward to ahead.
And what are your thoughts heading into the Red Bull Ring? You know, a track where there's a lot of long straights, there's a lot of hard braking zones. Do you think the BMW's up to the task of beating that Porsche on track?
We know the top end on it is going to be a battle constantly, but at least we can go toe to toe in the braking zone when it comes to the Porsche. So if anything, we'll just have to play our cards right, do a little mental gymnastics, and we'll see what we can pull off. I'm feeling good.
Brilliant. Well done tonight, Carl. Congrats on the second place in the feature race, and we'll see you in a week's time.
Cheers, mate.
Okay, big thank you to Carl. But let's bring in our latest addition to the winners in the Pro-Am class. Let's bring in Justin Delano. Justin, I have to say, one hell of a manoeuvre you pulled around the outside of James Nunn going into the right-hander. That was a beauty. Well done.
Thank you. I don't even remember which move that was. I had a couple good ones there.
I think it was
on edge the whole race.
I think it was the one where you actually managed to get around the outside, and it was before the right-hander going into the short shoot into Mobile 1 before the Sachs curve. It was just like the way you just teed it up and just kept it planted, and that was for what was eventually the Pro-Am class win. I mean, now along with Chase and Chris, you're now a race winner in this series. How are you feeling, more to the point?
Oh, it feels pretty good. I just played strategy the whole race. I parked it behind him for a while, turned my fuel maps down, and I think I gained 3 seconds on the pit stops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you did. Let's just have a look. Yeah, your pit stop was pretty good, pretty spot on. But now we head to the Red Bull Ring in a week's time. How's the practice going to be coming along for that one? Are you going to be spending a few hours behind the wheel, getting yourself ready to see if that Porsche can bring the fight to the rest of the field again?
Yeah, I'll definitely do some practice there. That was one of our preseason test tracks, and I spent some time there, and it was feeling pretty good at the time.
Well, Justin, congratulations on the W tonight in the feature race. We'll see you in a week's time at the Red Bull Ring.
Thank you. Thanks for the broadcast.
So a big thank you there to Justin Delano, David Christie. Great to chat with so many people. I mean, it's great to also hear from Matthew and Braden about the unfortunate T1 incident, which is, as you like to say, you hate to see those things happen. But as Braden said, it's part and parcel of racing, and there's still plenty of races left to go in this championship.
Sorry, I mean, that's the thing, Alex, is the fact that, yes, it's horrible to see stuff like that, but the good thing is that it's one race in an entire series of races, so they'll dust themselves down, they'll get themselves going again, and then, before we know it, they'll be back on the grid and absolutely tearing it up. So I wouldn't be too disheartened by it. It was a freak accident. It's not like they deliberately took each other out.
Oh, 100%. It was just unfortunate for Matthew, losing the back end of the Porsche, going through the Nord curve, and then Braden trying to avoid, goes left. The Porsche snaps on, oversteers the other way, and it just takes both of them out of the race. But as we said, there is still plenty more racing to go. That is it for round 2 of the IMB Racewear World Series League GT3 Season 4 here at round 2. So we say goodbye to southwestern Germany. We head to Styria in a week's time. So join myself and David here on the broadcast on October 26th when we head to round 3 at the Red Bull Ring. Until then, thanks for watching. Good night.